Hi guys, and welcome to the State of Crypto, your one-stop source for all crypto-related news. I'm your host Martin, and this is episode 27, Chinese government crypto, Craig Wright lawsuit, and XRP defends its stance. Now, can you believe it, guys? We've been live for 27 days in a row. That's pretty cool, actually. And I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you are having a wonderful night, afternoon, or morning, depending on where you're tuning in from or what time you're tuning in at, right? Anyways, guys, as you know, I'm not a financial advisor. This is all for entertainment and education purposes only. Please do your own research before you purchase or invest into any cryptocurrency or digital asset. Now, if you are catching this stream live, welcome. And if you are catching the replay and have any suggestions, please leave us a comment below. Now, if you want to keep up to date with the latest crypto-related news, make sure you subscribe. You hit that like button and that bell so you're notified when we go live, right? And if you haven't done it, you should do it right now. Anyways, if you want to keep if you want to keep on chatting with us once the stream is done, you can join us on our Discord. The link's in the description below, right? Anyways, on to the news. We had reported on an earlier episode that China will release its own cryptocurrency, right? Well, not really cryptocurrency. We already established it's basically its own digital money, right? It's going to be digital fiat. Now, they will grant it to 7 institutions in the coming months. And at the time of launch, the recipients will be responsible for dispersing the cryptocurrency to 1.3 billion Chinese citizens and basically anyone else that's doing business using renminbi, right? Or yuan. A source, the article says that a source stated that the central bank hopes the currency will eventually be made available to spenders in the United States and elsewhere through relationships with correspondent banks, although they have not stated a date for that. Now, 2 of the companies that will be receiving the currency and will be in charge of distributing will be Alibaba and Tencent. The other 5 are not discussed in this article, but maybe WeChat could have some action on that, right? Anyways, on to market cap. Yesterday, man, which closed 2 hours ago, right? We had a nasty fall almost at the end of the day or midday or so. Anyways, yesterday lost 5.09% of market cap, right? Closing at $243 billion. Right now, having a little negative day, like 0.41%, closing at $242 billion. Now, remember, this is just 2 hours ago, right? Market for cryptos closed at 7 p.m. Central. And, well, as we can see, we were back here on the 19th of August at 268 billion. So we lost quite a bit, right? Like 20 billion, basically. Now, on to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance yesterday rose, right? 0.66%. From an opening of 71.09, closing at 71.49. Right now, Bitcoin dominance is sitting at 0.14%. Basically, 71 or what is it at right now? 71.59. Yeah. So has not moved a lot. The day is just starting. Let's see how it goes. Although Bitcoin dropped in price, having a positive dominance, it just means that the altcoins dropped more in comparison to Bitcoin, so they lost more market. That's why the dominance is positive, although the price of Bitcoin will be negative, right? On to Bitcoin articles. Now, we're going to follow up on an article that we discussed yesterday, and we'll put a link up here in the corner. We also put a link up here for any article that we mentioned, right? That we covered previously. So always watch out for those little cards that pop out in case you want to see the coverage we did. Anyways, on to the Bitcoin articles. Right now, yesterday we were covering the lawsuit with Craig Wright and everything, and how the judge basically stated that basically Craig Wright had to pay 50% of intellectual property rights and half of his Bitcoin holdings onto the plaintiff, right? Now, the judge stated today yesterday actually, that the purpose of the hearing was not to determine the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, the court document was made public today, and it stated that the sole evidence supporting Dr. Wright's claim that he cannot comply with the court's order is the uncorroborated words of Dr. Wright. And basically, they're saying that his word is insufficient to meet the evidentiary burden. Basically, he has to comply. Now, Judge Reinhardt, who was the magistrate in charge of this, does not believe that Wright has done all within its power to provide the necessary evidence to the court. Now, the judge also stated that he thought much of Wright's efforts in court had been to conceal the true number of Bitcoin he holds. He actually stated if plaintiffs succeed on their claims, Dr. Wright tends to lose billions of dollars. That gives him a powerful motive not to identify his Bitcoin. As long as the relevant address remains secret, he can transfer the Bitcoin without the plaintiffs being able to find them. Now, the case is ongoing and the decision, it's only that of a magistrate. The ruling may still be rejected by the district judge overseeing the case. And, well, Craig Wright at one point in time had stated that the Bitcoin that he had was placed in an escrow, and apparently it was some sort of multi-signature, and the signatures were sent to people that he didn't even know who had them, and they were going to be released at a certain time. I believe it's BS to cover his tracks, right? Anyways, on to other Bitcoin articles. Now, Peter McCormack is betting $10,000 that the Bitcoins from the case are going nowhere. We're actually going to go look at the tweet he made, and he said, open bet available for any BSB CSW cultist of the belief that Craig has the Satoshi coins. I'll put $10,000 that none of these coins will be moved by CSW within a year. I'll even offer you 2-to-1 odds, so 5K for you. Money locked in escrow, paid out in 1 year today. So if anyone wants to take that bet, they can do it. Contact Peter via Twitter, I guess. Anyways, on to the Bitcoin price, right? Bitcoin right now sitting at 9,695, below the $10,000 mark. What happened, guys? What happened over the day, right? Well, as you can see, we took a nasty fall. Not too bad. I mean, this one's much larger negative movement, and this one was also pretty nasty, right? Anyways, we are still within downtrend, and this is the chart that we usually look at first, and we're gonna look at it again real quick. We hit that 50% line from the equidistant channel, and we basically rejected it, right? This chart has not moved. Also, this chart has not moved in the trend lines, right? I deleted certain things that were cluttering it, mainly the green lines that we use for the support and bullish divergences and bearish divergences. But the main channel and everything else is still intact, right? So as you can see here, we also hit that, almost hit that 50% retrace. I mean, not retrace, that 50% line of the channel, and rejected it. We are sitting above this line that we traced that was support, and we also had this support box, right, that we had traced, and stating that anywhere within this area was valid to go back, basically go down, touch it, and then bounce off of it. We broke down of this triangle, basically, that we could trace with this green line here, and using the yellow line of the support, we can see that we broke down. Right now we're sitting below 20 MA, making a little bit of negative momentum, or making still negative momentum, basically, and sitting around 40, yeah, on the RSI. Now, if we look at this, I didn't want to move that. There we go. If we look at this, right, this low was at 9,522, and the low over here was at, what was it, 9,470, right? Almost the same amount of low, yet the momentum is less, right? So from here to here, this is a lower, this is a slightly higher low. If we wanted to call them basically that they are the same low because they're really close to the price, we could say we were making a bullish divergence, basically, which would be like, I guess, type 2 or class B or medium bullish divergence, however you want to call it. That is if we wanted to say that they were basically the same low. It's a little bit higher, which, I mean, could negate it, but the difference in momentum is still more significant, right? Than whatever small difference they have here in we have here in price. Anyways, that's what I can see right now on the daily. Onto the 4-hour. Anyways, guys, if you're in the stream and you have any questions, you can just type them out, or if you want to discuss something more in detail, we can certainly do it. You know, don't be shy. We can. That's what the stream is for. Let me know if the music's good, if the sound of the mic is good. I'm trying my best so the stream is pretty good for you guys, right? Anyways, right now, what do we had? We had bullish divergence develop here on the 4-hour, and we can see it better here, right? Lower low than this low, but we are making a lower, less negative momentum, which again making more bullish divergence. We're ignoring this little noise that we have here. We're not going to consider it. Anyways, we could see a potential movement to the upside, still yet to be determined. We broke basically back into this. We broke out of this other triangle. I'm gonna basically move this so it's better fitting. I'm gonna ignore this long wick as FOMO basically, and leave the rest untouched. And we can see that we are still trading within this other triangle, right? That we had traced. Broken out of this one. We had a triangle within the triangle, right? Now we have slightly less or more of a downsloping triangle, basically. We are sitting on the 4-hour below the 20 MA, making negative momentum, has not started to decrease or anything, no signs of it yet. Sitting low on the RSI at 33, not at oversold, but just sold, but low on sold, right? And Bollinger Band volatility open, so that means we could have a wild movement to the upside and it would be completely normal. We had that contraction that we spoke of yesterday, and we said that we could expect a movement soon, and we did. We got it today. Anyways, that's where it's sitting at. Let's look at the 1 hour and see where we are at, hoping that this time the divergence plays and we have a movement to the upside. With this movement down, I would expect to see a reaction rally and maybe start seeing a little bit more prices to the upside. I hope so. I mean, I really hope that this starts moving up, right? Otherwise, it's going to be bad news. We drop to 9,500, then we can drop down to the 9,000s, and then 8,500s or so. And then the uptrend will be completely broken, right? Anyways, on the 1 hour, let's see. We are starting to get some consolidation. I'm gonna ignore that long wick and basically go for whatever the small candles have, and it's not the type of consolidation. It's maybe looks like a, oh man, yeah, it looks like a upsloping triangle, which could be a little bit neutral. Selling below 20 MA certainly. Volatility in the Bollinger Bands open, and now in the 1 hour we are sitting at oversold, right? We're sitting at 26. So potential movement off to the upside. I mean, we could still sell off more, but I doubt it. I would believe that with this decrease in the negative momentum, that we might start seeing price action to the upside, or at least neutralizing it and maybe finding this as a new level of support, right? Anyways, we're gonna move on to Ethereum. But before we move to Ethereum, guys, if you haven't subscribed, do it now. Hit that little subscribe thing that shows up on the bottom of the screen somewhere right there, and you know, we're good. Anyways, onto Ethereum. In Ethereum, we only found this small article. We're not going to go into it. It just basically covers something that we covered yesterday. And if you watch any of the cards that will appear up there somewhere, you will basically see that, right? Just the ones that we found basically discuss the grants that were awarded. That I think we covered that one yesterday or 2 days ago. So it might be a different card that appears. Now, apparently the funding for the project is directed to help or resolve the scalability issues they have, right? Other article mentioned that USDT was eating up a lot of the Ethereum resources, and that's basically it. No, there was nothing else or anything more significant developing on Ethereum. However, the price of Ethereum also dropped as well as everyone else's. Let's see the Ethereum on the daily for dominance. Yesterday lost dominance, right? 2.61%. Right now losing dominance, 0.67%. Dominance sitting at 7.59. Still below the 8. Let's see how it goes throughout the day. On to Ethereum. Price of Ethereum, $171.18 right now. In Ethereum, also, we haven't moved anything, but you can see that we went down, touched that support, and basically bounced off it, which is pretty good. That confirms it as a support. And basically, we are within this downsloping wedge still. This bullish divergence that we had traced did not play out, or has not played out yet, and I would basically hope it plays out. Now on to the sitting below the 20 MA, Bollinger Bands open volatility, negative momentum starting to build, and yeah, sitting low on the RSI at 31, so potential move to the upside, right? Anyways, on the 4 hours. On the 4 hours, we saw more contraction on the Bollinger Bands yesterday, and we said that we were expecting a movement. Movement came at 11 in the morning or so, or around that time. We're gonna look at the 4 hour in a second. Trying to figure out volatility. These seems to be almost equal, right? If we start making more positive momentum, definitely could have bullish divergence, right? Which would make it like a type 3 or class C or weak bullish divergence, but still yet to see if it will play out. On the RSI, nothing, right? Anyways, on the 4 hours, sitting below the 20 MA, volatility open on the Bollinger Bands. We can see that we are making negative momentum still, not starting to decrease or anything, and sitting oversold on the RSI at 27, which again, potential move to the upside, right? Especially with that bullish divergence developing right now. If we get a slightly higher candle than where we are at right now, maybe that bullish divergence will be negated, and we might see a little bit more price action to the downside. On to the 1 hour. On the 1 hour for Ethereum, we saw a lot of contraction on the Bollinger Bands, right? And usually when they contract, we can expect to see an explosive moment. Now, we were slightly outside of that channel, and we could now, since we just basically bounced around it, we could certainly make this fit a little bit better and say that we are still within a slight downsloping wedge, which should see us to price action to the upside. On the 1 hour, unless we don't consider any of this small noise, let's call it, and we consider this point here and this point here part of this downsloping movement, and we ignore everything else, we could be developing also bullish divergence as well. Anyways, on the 1 hour, like I said, volatility opened on the Bollinger Band, sitting below 20 MA, negative momentum starting to decrease, and also sitting oversold on the RSI at 24.86. On to Ripple. On Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse came out and basically tried to shut down the rumors that they were flying around, right? And he tried to basically clear the FUD about XRP and Ripple. That's what he said. Now, Garlinghouse actually tweeted, XRP sales are about helping expand XRP utility, building RippleNet, and supporting other business building with XRP. For example, Dharma and Forte. Reality is, we decreased our sales by volume quarter to quarter, and since then, the inflation rate of XRP circulating supply has been lower than that of Bitcoin and Ethereum. He also stated that I'm always struck by the questionable sources. I'm being generous here, spreading FUD about XRP and Ripple, even more so over the last few weeks. Ripple sales, litigation, etc. Thus, I feel compelled to comment. Now, there are some numbers down here that suggest that the inflation of Ripple is higher than what he's stating. It says here that according to Binance Analysis, XRP stood at 27.95 volatility after taking into account the 1 billion XRP released every month, etc. Right? He says that Bitcoin and Ethereum are at 3.77 and 4.63% respectively. And basically, then over here, It states that that 200 million. Where is it? Yeah, even with only 240 million sent to the market, the annual inflation rate would come up to approximately 7%, which is still higher than that of Bitcoin Ethereum, since they cannot know how much Ripple goes back into the escrow once the month ends. They can't actually really calculate a real number for inflation, right? Anyways, on other Ripple news, Ripple reset the testnet, and they actually, or someone put in a post on the Ripple server or a Google group, and it read, "Please be advised that Ripple has reset their XRP testnet. This means that all accounts, balances, and settings in the testnet have been deleted, and all contents of the testnet decentralized exchange has been erased. Now the testnet is now back up, and users can get new accounts and new testnet XRP from the testnet faucet. The production XRP ledger or mainnet is completely unaffected. This also has no effect on other test networks not run by Ripple." Now, many in the community are speculating that Cobalt may have been the reason behind the reset. Now, Ethan McBurrow was a former research engineer at Ripple and had created a consensus algorithm called Cobalt. And while it would not facilitate more transactions on the network, it would certainly speed up the transactions, right? They would go from taking 7 seconds to taking 2 seconds, which is a much faster speed, meaning more transactions could be cleared, or it could be faster, the clearing of transactions. Now, onto the XRP chart. On the daily, dominance. Yesterday, positive dominance. Plus 0.15%. Right now, positive dominance. Plus 0.08. We're on the daily, right? Yeah. On to the price of Ripple. Ripple sitting at 25 cents, or 25.5 actually. And we can see that also with Ripple, right? We're gonna use this channel that we haven't been able to break out of, down sloping channel. And we can see that we hit that bottom part of the channel and rejected it as well. Same thing that happened with Ethereum. We have bearish divergence developed, but it hasn't played out. We had only a small bump in positive momentum. Volatility open, sitting below 20 MA. Momentum starting to go neutral and sitting low on the RSI, but not at oversold, sitting at 32.67. Now on the 4 hours. Ripple is definitely not generating. It could. I mean, if we take this bump from here to here, right? I mean, negative momentum has not started to decrease yet, so it could still go higher. But if we go from here to here and here to here, we would be making a bullish divergence, which would be a strong bullish divergence, type 1 or class A, or however you want to call it. Not so much on the RSI. Anyways, that's it for Ripple on the 4 hours. Volatility open. We saw that contraction of the Bollinger Bands, explosion to the downside. We were unable to break above these resistance that we have traced, and might have been one of the reasons. We were touching it a lot and we were flirting with it, but not being able to break it, certainly driving us down to the downside, right? Sitting below 20 MA, volatility open, not making negative momentum on the Bollinger Bands, and sitting quite low on the RSI at 30.5. Right, so not in oversold, but certainly very low on the sold. Now to the 1 hour. 1 hour on Ripple, right? Not playing out the same. We actually would be more or less neutral on, if we can see that same point from here to here, would be about the same level of on the MACD and negative momentum, which would also be a type of bullish divergence, which would be a weak bullish divergence, or class C or type 3, or however you want to call it, right? Anyways, not seeing the same thing on the MACD. On the MACD, we actually hit oversold. We went to 14.70. Right now we're sitting at 31. It's not oversold, but very low on the sold. Volatility open on the Bollinger Band, sitting below the 20 MA. Negative momentum starting to subside, so it's pretty good. Anyways, on to Litecoin. Finally today, after weeks or days or not having any news regarding Litecoin, we actually found something, right? In another video, we talked about the Litecoin Foundation and the problems they were having, and how some of the employees had to take pay cuts so the foundation wouldn't sink too fast. We'll put an article to that also over here in a card. Well, anyways, that time also we mentioned that Xinxi Wang, who happened to be the spokesperson at that time, said that the foundation had received more donations during Q2, which apparently could be a lie, right? Now, apparently the Litecoin Foundation is in red numbers, or so states this article, and actually says it here in the first line, despite rumors that the financials are in the red, right there. Anyways, Charlie has come out and basically he stated that the goal is to get the Litecoin Foundation to be self-sustaining from donations, partnerships, and merchandise sales. Now, until we get to that point, I have and will continue to support the Litecoin Foundation financially as necessary. His words. Now, Lee said that their foundation is running ahead with partnerships like the one they have signed with the Miami Dolphins, and still the mission remains on developing products for the Litecoin community. Now, I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I think they're doing horrible, and I really hope that they can get out of that slump they have, but they just basically want to live off donations from people that support them, and all they do is basically be a little bit quicker than Bitcoin, right? So not really happy with them or what they do. Anyways, Litecoin dominance on the daily yesterday lost dominance 3.57%. Right now losing dominance 0.54%, sitting at 1.72% of market cap. Now, Litecoin on the daily price, right? Yesterday, impulse down, broke that, that support that we had traced, right? Downsloping channel, we didn't break that. We actually touched that bottom part of the channel and bounced back up. Sitting below 20 MA, volatility open, starting to make negative momentum, and basically sitting at oversold in the RSI. But with Litecoin, we had this bullish divergence, and we can trace it again, and we still have bullish divergence right from here to here. And on the RSI we also have no, in the RSI we don't. I thought that we did for a second, but now I noticed that this was not an oversold and this is a little bit lower now. Anyways, on to the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, volatility open, sitting below 20 MA, momentum starting to build negative, no signs of negative momentum receding right now, and sitting at oversold, basically at 28.06. Now, we had developed a bullish divergence to here, right? But man, if we ignore this noise also, and we go all the way here, we are still making bullish divergence as well, and divergence has not played out. Right now, we broke this this wedge to the downside, or this downsloping wedge to the downside. Now we could certainly move here and try to make adjustments, and maybe it will be somewhere around here, I guess, and still be making negative yeah. Anyways, on to the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, volatility open, sitting below 20 MA, negative momentum starting to recede, sitting over sold on their RSI at 22.84, and we're gonna ignore that longer week, and basically we're gonna go from here to here, and then we don't have any. Well, maybe we can anchor here, which would make an upsloping triangle. And that will be it right now. It's too short of a pattern to actually call it. I would like for more buyers to develop, and I'll wait for that to happen, right? Anyways, on to Binance. On Binance, we finally have a tentative launch date for the Binance Futures platform. On July 2nd, Changpeng Zhao had revealed that the company planned to launch a futures trading platform with support for Bitcoin to US dollar tether, and basically the contracts could have leverage up to 20 times. Now, no dates or months were disclosed during July, but right now they came out and they actually stated that the launch date will be in September. They didn't fix the date, but at least now we have that next month the futures platform will be live, right? Now on to Litecoin. On the dominance on the daily. Yesterday lost dominance 3.81. Right now losing dominance 2.80%. Sitting at 1.45 dominance, right? Market cap. Now to Binance. Seems that we've broken out of this downsloping channel that we had traced. Let's look at this other one. Yeah, it also looked like the same, right? Broke the triangle to the downside. That's fine. Triangles are neutral. We knew we could go either way, and basically same thing happened with Bitcoin, right? We were within this neutral triangle that could have break into the upside or the downside, and everyone all over the place couldn't figure out if we were going to break to the upside or the downside. A lot of people were saying, if we break to the upside, we'll go to $13,000 and then $15,000. If we go to the downside, we have $8,000 that we can head to, and then maybe $7,000 or $5,000, right? We're a little bit more conservative. We didn't actually say where we could go. We were just reporting what we were seeing, and basically we stated that we could break to either side. We were seeing potentials to both sides, and we said the risks associated with either or. Now, we are still within another bigger triangle in Bitcoin, and Bitcoin being such a huge part of the market basically will determine where everyone else is going, right? Bitcoin is the driver or captain of the ship that we are all passengers in, and Bitcoin will decide basically where we're gonna head, right? And it's gonna take the whole market with it. Anyways, downsloping, still outside of that channel, and basically now this will give me a room to fix this, and we might get better contact points, right? 2 in the bottom, 1 on the top, almost 2 in the top. Anyways, we'll be right there. Down, like I said, sitting below 20 MA, making negative momentum, much more than has not started to go down, and sitting at oversold on the RSI at 26. Now, as with everyone else, right? From here to here, and from here to here, we would be making bullish divergence, which could play out to the upside on the daily. We have to wait and see what actually happens. Now on the 4-hour, making negative momentum, not starting to go down. Same thing would happen. We could go from here to here and say we're making it would be from here to here, right? We'll be making a negative momentum. I mean, the bullish divergence. Negative momentum's not showing signs of stagnation yet, or starting to decrease on the 4-hour, but we are seeing much lower on the RSI. We are sitting at 18.27, which, of course, at some point in time we have to go up in price. Selling has to stop, and that would potentially see us to higher prices, right? Or at least start consolidating around this area, and then we'll see the oscillator reset slowly, and maybe this will be a new low. Who knows? This just happened, and we have to wait for it to develop more. On the 1-hour, we had that impulse up. Still not. If this would be, and I'm not sure if I would call it consolidation, but if we were to call this the consolidation of that impulse, it would be a very steep. It actually looks more like a channel, right? That would create a sort of exhaustion, which would definitely see us to price action to the upside. Right now, still too few candles to actually call it, and the 1-hour is not as reliable as the 4 or the week or the daily, right? We can see here that we are not making that bullish divergence on the 1-hour. We could be making it, and it's very, very slight from this point to this point, which would be like from this point to this point, right? And that will be a strong bullish divergence, which would be a type 1 or a class A, right? Now on the RSI, we would also be making it, I think, because this it's a little bit lower than this, right? Right here the RSI is at 17.73, and right here is at 18.37, right? So we could also be making that slight bullish divergence, and this would be a basically a weak bullish divergence, which would be a basically a class 3 or type C, or however you want to call it, right? Anyways, sitting below 20 MA, negative momentum start to pick up again, but seems to be well, does not show that it's gonna go down quickly. And RSI still sitting at 18.29, like we said. We're gonna look at Bitcoin real quick, see what happened in the last 37 minutes or 30 minutes since we looked at it, right? Still in that structure, nothing else happening, right? Anyways, guys, I don't have any more news for right now. That'll be all. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, do it now. You know, hit that bell, that like button, and if you like what we do, share this with someone else, right? We're really trying to get this community going. We're trying to grow. Right now, I'm really happy. We picked up 3 members yesterday, and I'm quite happy with that. So, sitting at 45. Hopefully, we can hit 50 by the weekend, and then we can celebrate and have a small celebratory stream where we can have a little more fun, right? Anyways, guys, that'll be all for right now. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to leave the stream open a little bit, and if nothing happens within a minute or so, we're just going to call it quits, right? So, while those questions come up, what do you guys think is going to happen? Do you guys think we're going to keep on breaking to the downside? Do you think we might see some reaction rallies, starting to see prices go up, or are we going to just keep on going down, right? I mean, let me know. Really interested in what you guys think. And this, even though it's not a real, I wouldn't call this a double bottom, but it could play out, right? This right here. Nah, it's not really a double bottom. That divergence, man. You know. Really waiting for it to play out. Okay, seems like we're not gonna get any questions. Again, thank you for watching. That'll be all for right now. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.